We haven't pointed out yet, today is the 10th anniversary of the iPhone officially going on sale, July 29th, 2007. At the time, people were calling, didn't have an app store, was limited to the AT&T network. Tony Fadell, now of Nest fame, but at the time, high-powered Apple executive said the business model in year one was a disaster. It took them a while to sort of regroup, pivot, and then obviously broaden the range of apps, the range of providers, and now you got 1 billion of them sold around the planet.
I think if you remember at the time, I mean, what people were kind of invoking when the iPhone came around was Newton, was the Palm Pilot, this idea, oh yeah, we've tried this kind of a touchscreen thing before. And yeah, as you say, I mean, it was kind of a, okay, what does it do for me that we don't have already? I don't think we saw a time a decade later when people are complaining that Apple is nothing but a massive iPhone business, right? Which is one of the complaints.
Funny, Carl, you remind me of the exclusivity with AT&T, which was a very strong positive for that company at the time. Particularly, as it was fighting off Verizon, which had a much better network, I think it's safe to say, back then. But yeah, it was exclusive for a couple of years, at least, before they broadened the ability of all the carriers to actually give it to their customers.
Yes. Of course, today's the day you could officially get your hands on one a decade ago. But if you recall, in January of '07, that's the time Jobs officially unveiled the idea of this new thing called the iPhone to an audience. Take a listen to that.
These are not 3 separate devices. This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone.
He said we're going to take all these buttons and just make a giant screen. At the time, did not seem intuitive to a whole lot of people.
Right. It wasn't about asking customers, what do you think a phone should look like? I would point out, too, the company that's now BlackBerry, with back then Research in Motion, was at $66 a share 10 years ago. It eventually went up to, I think, $120. You know, in the year or two after that, because, you know, BlackBerry was still very dominant.
Where was Nokia? It probably was also. It had been dominant.
Very true. Even before that, right? Yes. It was even higher before that, but now BlackBerry about $13.
Yeah. Incredible services revenue now for Apple, $24 billion, and now people turning their attention to what comes next. 3D displays for maps, an OLED display, AR, ability to manipulate pictures and video with stickers and images.
I mean, I do think that the iPhone thing has spoiled a lot of people, right? And it creates that, okay, well, you know, how are you going to revolutionize the world next, as opposed to incremental products? People aren't, you know, always satisfied with that.
Well, it is a recurring product that has to keep selling, although the ecosystem is certainly strong enough to have a recurring sales.
Sure.
But I mean, every year you got to refresh.
No, to me, that's the explanation for why Apple as a stock has never gotten a big fat premium multiple. Because the market doesn't know what to do with an $800 billion company that is to some degree hit-driven, and every 2 or 3 years you have to kind of dazzle the crowd, and you have to have that many people in the world decide to buy your product again.
Right.
And you just made the point. I mean, BlackBerry once was dominant, and/or Nokia. I mean, it can happen.
And it's not like their competitors are light years behind in innovation, right?
Exactly.
We'll see if that flattens out as phones get commoditized in the coming years.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.